Well, hello everybody, and welcome to LA Dodger Report. Today's topic, comparing a visit to Wrigley Field versus the experience at Dodger Stadium. I'm an LA Dodger fan, and I've attended Dodger Stadium all my life, so I know that fan experience pretty much inside and out. I was out in Chicago 2 weeks ago and took in my first ever Cubs game at Wrigley Field. Let's break down the experience for the fan at both parks and see which fan experience at which stadium I prefer. The results may or may not surprise you. So here we go, beginning with pre-game approach, getting to the game, and so on. Well, I took the train, as most people do, to go to Wrigley Field. And when you arrive at Wrigley Field, you arrive on an elevated train platform, hop out. Wrigley Field stands before you, lined on both sides of city streets with just pubs and restaurants and bars. People milling about in and out, kind of a general party, kind of Mardi Gras atmosphere for a run-of-the-mill midweek game that I was at. That was a pretty nice approach. Now, how about coming into Dodger Stadium? This is what you see. Tail lights of traffic doing this up a hill. That's the experience. Or if you're not in that traffic, you're you're walking up a hill. So there's two approaches, right? I really appreciate that Wrigley Field approach and just the general atmosphere that it gave arriving in that way. Checking my notes here, actually. Now, how about the fan experience inside for sitting? Dodger Stadium, big, 50,000 seats. In my opinion, there's not a bad seat in the house. Yes, you can sit far away and the players look small because you're sitting up high, but it's a great view of the field and you see all the action. Not a bad seat in the house. Wrigley Field, 100-year-old stadium, built with steel girders all the way around, and you're effed if your seat is in front of a big steel girder. All right, because this is your experience of watching the game, and these girders are all the way around, and it's not just sitting directly in front of that thing, because I imagine people who sit behind it at an angle still have trouble seeing through that. So that was not very good, but my seats were great. I had a great view. I was field level, about 20 rows back. I loved it. But if you're behind one of those steel girders, man, it's nuts. You can't see a thing. But because of this, Dodger Stadium wins, because we are there to see the ball game. So pre-game arrival, despite the traffic, the fan experience of watching the game, because that's why you're there, Dodger Stadium wins. Next, how about the atmosphere and being in the game? Wrigley Field atmosphere inside the game is very much like outside. Kind of party. Everybody feels really friendly. Of course, they're all decked out in Cubs gear, just like at Dodger Stadium. Everybody's wearing Dodgers gear. I wore my Dodgers hat, and nobody gave me any grief in a threatening way. You know what I mean? There was some good-natured bantering between me and Cubs fans, so we got along fine with just good-natured way and feeling, like you could just party with any group that's there. Dodger Stadium gives me the feeling of a million little cliques, and I don't get the feeling like I could party with any of those cliques. But, Wrigley Field just kind of felt that way. That's the kind of vibe that place has. All right, what else is different? Dodger Stadium, constant noise, constant music, constant stimulation of the senses. If there's not a video playing on the board, the DJ is playing music. If the DJ isn't playing music, the organist is playing music. If he's not playing music, they're playing Let's Go Dodgers and so on. It's constant stimulation. Wrigley Field, no. Barely knew that they had an organist. Barely knew they had a DJ. I'm not even sure they do. Pretty quiet. No wave. No beach balls. All right. So people that don't like those things, you would like Wrigley Field. You just had the feeling that everybody in the stands pretty much was sitting there to watch the game, and they were watching the game. And I don't often get that feeling at Dodger Stadium. Whether I'm outside the ring walking or inside, you feel like everybody's kind of partying in there too, and they're all just socializing. All right. So, but Wrigley Field has a great sound system inside the place where you walk around and you can watch the TVs while you're waiting in line or in the bathroom. Great speaker setup. You can hear the call very clear. So that was great in that sense. So I actually overall preferred the Wrigley Field watching the game experience. I like the organ. Don't get me wrong. I like Dieter Rule, but a little bit less of stupid games on the video board and stuff like that, and idiot contests. No thanks. I like a little bit more watching the ball game, said the old man. All right. Wrigley Field wins on that one. One win Dodger Stadium, one win Wrigley Field. Let's move a little faster. Beer. Wrigley Field wins on decent prices. $10, $12 for a beer. But Wrigley's loses on beer selection. Terrible. Horrible. They think that, I won't even slosh them that much. But let's stick to the point and go quickly. Dodger Stadium wins out on beer. Absolutely. They don't even have micheladas at Wrigley Field. Can't even find a michelada. Because of that, Dodger Stadium wins. All right. Now, how about post-game afterward? Instead of just endless waiting in traffic or sitting in the parking lot while everybody else is doing this, after the game at Wrigley Field, everybody pours out, hits the streets, and as I said, when you arrive, all the streets are lined off with bars and restaurants. When you leave the game, boom, you just head out to that, and everybody is headed for big parties and whatever's their favorite pub or their favorite hangout, and plenty of food choices galore. So in that way, the post-game experience, Wrigley Field wins. They take that because Dodger Stadium, boy, you're either just sitting in traffic or you're standing forever in line waiting for those Dodger Express buses that they never seem to have enough of after the game. So Wrigley Field wins that one. On my scorecard, I end up with Wrigley Field taking 3 wins out of 2, but in my heart, Dodger Stadium is the best. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.